I'm dealing with livestock, so I will start telling you a jokes about animals. What do you call a cow without a calf? Decaffeinated. Why do cows have hooves instead of feet? Because the lactose. Why Rooster crossed the road? To prove he wasn't chicken. It is fascinating that the Bible is full of stories about farming. The entire Bible mentioned the word sheep 693 times, 621 times in the Old Testament, and 72 times in the New Testament. The word cattle is mentioned 427 times, while the word wheat mentioned 153 times. It is quite remarkable that the Bible shows a significant theme about agriculture. Dan Seals, an American country singer, could not contain his appreciation that he included lyrics in one of his songs that made number 10 into the US Hot Country Music Billboard chart. The lyric says, He, referring to God, made wide open spaces from the start. He made grass and trees and mountains, and a horse to be a friend. In the 13th chapter of Matthew, particularly mentioned in verse 24 to 43, about the parable of the wheat and tares and its explanation. To describe wheat is one of the several grains that make up the staples of human consumption. Wheat is a cereal type of plant or grain that is processed to become flour or bran. From these products, staple foods like bread, cereals, and pasta are made. It is the second most produced cereal after maize. Wheat is important due to its contribution to food industry and nutritional value. Wheat has long, slender leaves and a brush-like seed head. Wheat can grow up to 1.2 meters tall. The seeds are brown, and wheat resembles grass in early stages and displays a golden color at maturity when it is ready for harvest. While tares, describing tares here now, is a type of wheat that resembles wheat during early stages of growth. A weed also known as false wheat. The weed can be used as pasture grass. The seeds, when eaten, tending to induce drowsiness or sleep, grows up to a meter tall and grows purple grain upon maturity. Has black seeds. The stems are erect and elongated. So that how we differentiate the wheat and the tares according to its description. We read in verse 24 in Matthew, the 13th chapter, the parable, another parable that he put forth to them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed a good seed in the field. That's in verse 24 of the 13th chapter of Matthew, talking about the good seed. Today, it is my purpose to talk about good seed, underscored and highlighted in chapter 13 in Matthew. The question is, who are these good seeds? What are the qualities of a good seed? What can we expect when a good seed grows? And how we can relate this good seed to our Christian lives? So these are the questions that we go through and answer in this time that is allocated for this sermon this afternoon. Seed are tiny things with big job, producing beautiful, delicious, sustainable, and diverse food. But how do you know a seed is a good one? In verse 36 in Matthew 13 chapter, verse 36, in the 13th chapter of Matthew, Jesus sent the multitude away and went into the house, and his disciple came to him, saying, "Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field." And he answered in the verse 37, and said to them, "He who sows a good seed is the Son of Man." In verse 38, the man or the field is the world. In verse 38, the field is the world. The good seed are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked. Talking about seeds, there are basic qualities of a seed that can be qualified as good seed. There are plenty. You can take a look on what are the qualities of a good seed, but I will give only three here for now. Qualities of a good seed. Number one, seed purity. Seed purity. A good seed is considered pure when it is free from all sorts of contamination, like, for example, mixture of crop seed, weed seed, and inert materials. We can liken seed purity to our beliefs as well, our understanding, our doctrine, to be pure and not contaminated by the teachings and practices of this world. What we believe and what we practice is a serious matter here, brethren. Notice in Galatians chapter 1, Galatians, one of the epistles or letters that Apostle Paul wrote to the congregation of the church. Galatians chapter 1, verse 9. Galatians chapter 1, verse 9, and said, "As we have said before, so now I say it again. If anyone preaches any other gospel to you than what you have received, let him be accursed." There are a lot around at this time, and there's a warning: do not be deceived, and be aware of what's going on in our surroundings today. Second qualities of a good seed. Second qualities of a good seed. Seed vigor. Seed vigor. A good seed must have enough stored energy, stored food, to sustain growth like root initiation and leaf formation. It is very important, or you easily topple down. Root should be deeply anchored, rooted into the ground, just like our faith, steadfast and immovable, not easily discouraged and not easily offended, ready to accept correction and change what is pleasing and acceptable to God. So we have a good reference here as well, an example in Matthew 7, verse 24. You don't need to go there. In verse 24 and 25 in Matthew, talking about building a house in the rock, a house on the rock, that even the rain descended, the floods came, the winds blew and beat on the house. It did not fall because it's founded on the rock, deeply rooted, deeply anchored, and built on a solid foundation. Now we go to the third qualities of a good seed. Third qualities of a good seed is seed maturity. Seed maturity. A good seed must be well matured both externally and internally. The germination capacity and seed vigor depend upon the maturity of seed. Christian maturity is important, not easily offended and not easily discouraged. We are admonished to walk in unity. We are admonished to walk in unity in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 1. I therefore, the prisoners of the Lord, beseech you to walk worthy of its calling, worthy of the calling with which you were called, with all the lawlessness and gentleness, with long suffering, bearing with one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. Because you and me are here in the church, we are the good seeds, as mentioned in the verse 38 in the 13th chapter of Matthew. That is, the field is the world, the good seeds are the sons of the kingdom, but the tares are the sons of the wicked. That's in verse 38 on the Matthew, the 13th chapter. A good seed possesses the qualities of being pure. That's the first quality. And the second, seed vigor. The third is seed maturity. A good seed will grow and bear many fruits. A good seed will grow and bear many fruits. But we need to be aware, because we have the adversary as well. And in verse 43, on the same chapter 13 in Matthew, then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. And we are admonished, he who has ears to hear, let him hear.